for those that are interested or have questions regarding various digital voice topics. While this net is primarily for the southern tier, all stations are more than welcome to check in. This net meets weekly on Sundays at 7 p.m. For more information about this net, please visit STNYDMR.net. This net will provide short-time, mobile, in and out, or emergency power stations. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly, your name, and your location. So let's first take a standby for any stations that are short-time, mobile, in and out, or emergency power. Please call now. Hearing none, we'll move on to announcements. Are there any announcements for this evening? Please call now.
This is NE2W, November Echo 2 Whiskey, Ed in Binghamton, New York, with an announcement.
The net recognizes NE2W, Ed, in Binghamton, with an announcement. Ed, go ahead with your announcement, please. You are NE2W.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Our Binghamton Amateur Radio Club had a board meeting this week, and it was designed to go ahead and have our annual equipment auction this month, which didn't leave us a whole lot of time to get ready, to get all the equipment organized and everything. But on our meeting on the third Wednesday of September at Copernic Observatory, we will be auctioning off equipment. And to see the list of equipment, go to the website qsl.net/Vera/auction. And Vera is Bravo Alpha Radio Alpha. qslnet./Vera/auction for a list of equipment. We'll have more information as time comes, but I wanted to get that information out so people could look at it. Back to you. Thank you. NE2W.
Are there any other announcements for this evening? If so, please call now. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on with the net. But before we get started, let's have a standby for any additional stations who'd like to check in with STNY Digital Voice Net. Any other stations, please call now.
This is N2 NCB, Paul, Owego, New York.
Net Control. This is N3OJP Mick, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. This is November 2, November Romeo Alpha, Cliff in Waverly.
Okay. Well, we have a good start up for tonight. We have 7 stations listed. Uh, the net recognizes K3 BYC Carlton, N2 RWH Ed, W2 FJH Frank, NE2W Edward, N2 NCB Paul, N3 OJP Mike, and N2 NRA Clifton. So let's move on with tonight's topic. What brought you to digital radio? And let's start with KDYC Carlton. If you'd like to go ahead, please. N3 BYC Carlton, are you still with us? Okay, well, something must have happened with Carlton. We'll go back to him after. Let's now move to W2 FJH Frank. Frank, do you want to come ahead, please?
Well, good evening there, Dennis, and everybody else on that. Yeah, it's been a long week, long work week, should I say? The weekend kind of hit, and I got some stuff done and relaxed a little bit there. We've had several weeks there that we've had our weekends kind of packed full. But I was just telling the XYL that yeah, I wish wish we could start over the weekend again, have another 2 days off, and to get more stuff done there. But yeah, didn't get a chance to mow this weekend. Hopefully Tuesday. I see Monday it's supposed to be rainy all day, but the grass does need it, so hopefully I can get out there Tuesday. And as for the net topic, yeah, so I started my amateur adventure there during 2020 during the pandemic, and studied, got my technician license. And I live out in Tioga County, so I was looking for local analog repeaters to make contacts, and not much in this area. Everything I had to do, I had to get a better base antenna, and everything, and then try to reach out into the Binghamton set of analogs to hit some of those repeaters out there. And it just became kind of a challenge to reach that or reach out into Chemung. And I was a software engineer, so I was kind of gravitated towards the digital voice aspects of it, and kind of hotspot. And I thought it was great that I could actually hear people loud and clear. I didn't have to listen or over any rainfall there or waterfall. And yeah, I just been getting more into the hobby ever since. So I'll send it back to you there, Carlton. And just by the way, I think it's sorry, Dennis. I wanted to talk about Carlton. I think the call sign was K3 BYC. I think he said N3, and I'm not sure if that's why he didn't answer. But yeah, I'll send it back to you there, Dennis. Thanks again for running the net. This is W2FGH.
Okay, well, I will beg forgiveness. I've got cataracts that are going to be removed, but the doctor that I've chosen is so good and so popular that they can't be removed until the middle of January. So I'm trying to get close enough to this laptop to read everything. Sorry about the wrong call sign. Let's go back and try for Carlton again. Carlton, K3BYC. Are you still with us? If so, we would love to hear what brought you into digital radio. And how has your week been? I think we've lost Carlton. We'll come back to him again. I know I said it right that time. Uh, Frank, your reasons for getting into DMR are very similar to mine. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Have no traffic. They're analog repeaters, and so if I wanted to talk on the radio, and I just decided this year in February I wanted to talk on the radio, wanted to get into this, I had to do digital. And once again, I'm a computer geek. I have been since computers were these huge things that took up big rooms and you had to have punch cards. That was the way I went. So let's move on and see here N2RWH. Ed, how was your week and what brought you into digital radio?
N2RWH here from Binghamton. Week wasn't too bad. I had some vacation time, so I have to first day back to work on Monday. I dreading a little bit, but we get ready to get back to the grind. So what brought me is I had decided to aging equipment and was kind of going to need another HD, and I guess I decided at that time in December that I would upgrade equipment and come into the digital world, and I did. I almost didn't, thanks to Frank for helping get it going. So other than that, very happy with it now and can't complain. So I got multiple ways of talking to people. So back to you, Dennis, and to RWH.
Well, thank you, Ed. I appreciate the comments there. I agree. It's nice to have multiple ways to talk to people. Let's move on now, and we'll try NE2W. Also, Ed from Binghamton. Ed, good evening, and tell us your story, please.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. And boy, that was quite a while ago. I got back into ham radio after being out for, I want to say, a decade or two, and I didn't have a radio that worked. My old ICOM 218 didn't have the PL tones to get into the repeater, so I ordered a Yaesu FT3D, because what little I knew about digital radio back then, people said, get what's in your area, and we're in the area of the southern tier of New York State, along the Pennsylvania border, and along the highway there's a series of C4 FM repeaters all tied together. So I didn't want a simple radio. I wanted to get something that I would learn with, so I got the Yaesu FT3D, and I guess that got me into digital that way, but it wasn't really learning digital or anything. It was just using a different mode. It wasn't until that was in 2020, and then in May of 2021, Frank W2FJH gave a talk at our club about DMR, and that just opened things wide up. Learned about there's more than C4 FM. There's D-Star. I could go on and on, but so that got us going and looking at the different apps that are available for the phones that get you in, and the ability to talk to people where you normally couldn't. Like a friend of mine in New Jersey, Bob's driving home from work. He can hit the 2-meter repeater, and I can come in through Echolink and talk to him while he's on his drive home. He's on analog. I guess Echolink's analog too, but I'm coming in through that way, and he's talking over the air. So that's my story. Back to you, the Cine 2W.
Well, thank you, Ed. Yes, Echolink talks analog, but you've got to be digital to be on it, I believe. I use Echolink on my iPad to connect to the East Coast reflector if I don't want to be bothered with going through a repeater sometimes. So, yeah, Echolink is another great digital way to do things. So, thank you very much, Ed. Let's see. Now, before we go on, let's take another brief standby and see if there are any additional stations that would like to join the Southern Tier DMR net this evening. Don't want to keep you waiting along. Please give your call sign, name, and location now.
Good evening. This is N2BSS, November 2, Bravo, Sierra, Sierra, Jeff in Prattsburg, Steuben County.
Well, the net recognizes Jeff. N2BSS, thank you for joining us. We'll be in touch with you shortly. I want to work on through the list and talk to you soon. Next on the list, I believe we have N2 NCB. That's Paul from Owego. Paul, how was your week and what got you into digital radio?
Hello again, Dennis, and all into NCB here. Well, I usually say sunny downtown Owego, and that's what it was today. But you get the drift. Sunny downtown, that has a long story to it that we won't get into tonight. But week was good. Got a lot of things accomplished, and as far as getting into digital, PSK 31 is what got me started. Had a blast with that, and then discovered Yezu's digital system, and so I have fun with that and still do. And then the DMR. So the only system really didn't get into was D-Star, but so I'm into at least 3 out of the 4s that I'm aware of anyway. So it just progresses from there. I think that's it from this end. So turn it back to you, Dennis. Take care, all. N2NCB.
Well, thank you, Paul. Yes, you're into 3 of the 4. The amateur radio hobby is definitely a money pit, so there's always time to get into the 4th one. There's always another radio. It must be one that you can't live without. Let's see. Next we have here N30JP. Mike or Michael, whichever you prefer, I'm sorry, from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Tell us about your week and how you got into digital.
Well, good evening, Dennis and the net. Yeah, most people call me Nick. So, but whatever comes up. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm also a PSK 31. Echolink's a great thing. I enjoy that also. How I got into DMR? I was at a Skywarn Recognition Day. I volunteered, and that was back in 2019. So I went down to the weather station in Moon Township National Weather Service. And while I was there, one of the volunteers, Hams, asked me about DMR. I didn't know a thing about it. Well, his background was networking, very similar to Frank. And we started talking. He says, "Well, let's get together and figure this out." So I got a Raspberry Pi, and with his knowledge of networking, and which I didn't have, we were able to get it set up. He wasn't really interested in the use of the DMR radio. He was more interested in the networking. So then one night I was on the Pennsylvania State Tuesday night DMR net 3142, and it was mentioned about the Southern Tier of New York digital net, and they put out the talk group. So that's how I got started up with you fellas, and started to get on the Southern Tier net, which I greatly enjoyed, and I learned a lot too. It's incredible. So how my week? Well, Friday night we had a microburst here in the county, and tremendous amount of tree damage. I've got quite a bit. I got big limbs down. Fortunately, no damage to the home or any other parts of my property, but a lot of tree damage, way more than I can handle. Fortunately, for me, my daughter's boyfriend is a professional tree climber, cutter, and he's going to get his company over here and clean up this mess because I just got still have a lot of large limbs that are hanging. You give a break, Dennis. Yeah, Beaver County was overwhelmed. We didn't lose power, but there's other parts of the county where the telephone poles are just snapped. And in fact, on my camera out back, it looked like the Weather Channel when they show the hurricanes with the wind just blowing the rain. Lost two of my dipoles, but again with my daughter's boyfriend there, he just climbed up one of the trees in the back. He had to clear out a widowmaker. Then he threw some paracord over there, so I was able to pull up my 130-foot end-fed half wave. So at least I'm back on HF. The off-center fed's another story. There's just too many tree limbs in the way before I can start to mess with that. Plus the one tree that I had it tied off on, it's a wreck. There's a couple of big limbs that have snapped but didn't fall. So I was supposed to be painting a cottage this week, so I'm going to be, I guess, monitoring these guys when they come over and clean up this mess. So, yeah, it was quite an event here. So, but no one got hurt in the county. One lady had a broken ankle. Tree, 8-foot diameter tree fell through the house, and her husband was on the other side of the house. He's okay. He had to crawl through the window to get her, and the worst she had was a broken ankle. But other than that, I'm not hearing of anything else, which is good. Okay, Dennis, I will turn it back to you. Good night. This is N30JP.
Well, Mick Fernald apologized. I should have known, I should have recognized, because I'm the one that got you set up with or got you convinced to get an OpenSpot 4 Pro. I'm just so concentrating on watching the NetLogger screen and looking at the script and looking at my notes and making sure I do everything correctly because I don't want to get slapped down for not being a good boy. I didn't even register. I see Beaver Falls and I see your last name, and it should have said Mick to me, but I'm sorry it didn't. Uh, Sorry to hear about the tree damage, but now you know why your daughter married the guy, so he can take care of your limbs and get your antennas back up. You know, that's a good thing. So I'm sure there are other reasons, but that's one in case you hadn't previously thought of it. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. We're going to sign now to N2 NRA. Clifton from Waverly. Clifton, tell us about your week and your story for digital radio.
This was Cliff from Waverly. Oh, well, this week went pretty well. I got the lawn mowed, but I had to go on to a wedding yesterday. The weather report concerned we had 3/10 of an inch in the morning of rain, but the weather broke and the wedding went off okay. They're down by White Sox, Pennsylvania. We moved 4 years ago and didn't get my ham station set up. So my son, and through QFD, you may recognize him, bought me a vowel fan and set up a Raspberry Pi and introduced me to the DMR radio. I was already doing D-Star and Echolink. I have a friend down near Coopersburg. We do Echolink and D-Star occasionally, Whiskey Victor 3 Mike. And so we got the SFED antenna set up this year and trying to get the HF shack together and maybe we'll get into some other modes of digital. Sorry about taking it out there. So this is N2NRA back to Net Control. Thanks for taking over there, Dennis, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Cliff. I appreciate you joining the net this week and having a story for us. Next on the list, we're going to go to State College, Pennsylvania, N2 BSS. Jeff, tell us your story.
Good evening to one and all from N2 BSS. I'm actually in Prattsburg, Steuben County right now, which is more so my summer QTH, and the winter QTH is State College, Pennsylvania. But I don't know how to change that on radio ID or any of that, so we just leave it as is for the moment. And there you go. So I'm in the Southern Tier, and week was okay. Had to do the W thing for part of it, of course. But we won't talk about that and all the attendance stress that it has. But I'm really enjoying the change in weather, the cooler temperatures, and of course the much lower humidity is very, very welcome. And in fact, I'm able to do some things outdoors I hadn't been able to do all summer because the humidity was too high or temperature was too high. Go for nice long bicycle rides. Well, long is a relative number to some people. I did about 11 miles today, about 10 miles yesterday. Was really nice. Now I've got some friends who'll do 40 and 50 miles, and they laugh at my little 10 milers. But hey, whatever. Let me get a reset here. Yeah, as for what got me in digital radio, well, if you want to use the true definition of digital, I actually got into radio, TTY, back in 1982, just a few years after I was originally licensed. Had a Commodore VIC-20 and a Cantronics interface and some cables I wired up and my old HF rig, and I really enjoyed working RTTY back then, but I got out of it after a while. And my next foray was GT65 many years later, and then, of course, followed with FT8. But as for DMR, I was actually in the market for a new HT, and I was kind of debating what to get, and I saw this great deal on a Anytone radio that had DMR in it, the Anytone 878, and it just so happened that in State College we had a DMR repeater, so I could get set up without having to buy a hotspot, and the rest is history. I got the 878, worked through K3ARL, found this talk group, a bunch of others, and then I eventually acquired my own hotspot, so that when I come here to Prattsburgh, I have a way to communicate on DMR. So, as I like to say, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Back to net control and to BSS.
Jeff, it's a good story. And I did hear you say you were in Prattsburgh, but when you get to be my age, short-term memory is, one of the first things to go. I won't get into what the first was, but I'm just looking at the screen and it says State College, and I heard you say Prattsburgh, but we're happy to have you with us wherever you're located. Okay, last person we have on the list tonight is WX2USA. Now that's a call. Bill from Endwell, or William, whichever you prefer. Will, welcome to the net. Please tell us your story.
Hey, Dennis, this is W2SAH. I do apologize about that. Bill actually messaged me. He was trying to check into the net, in and out, and when he keyed up, something went wrong with his hotspot, and he wasn't able to get in anymore. So he kind of messaged me, just wanted me to check him in and out. So he'll be checked out for this evening there. So back to the net there.
Okay, I see the status as C/O, and I didn't know what that was. So, well, let's try one more time. Is Carlton back with us by any chance? K3, BYC, Carlton, are you with us still? Or again?
This is K3BYC. Yes, I'm back with you. I had an internet outage. I had to reset it there, so it went down about 6 seconds into your preamble. So I'll give you my background. I got licensed 9 years ago after I was retired from teaching after 35 years of teaching. And my dad was a ham, and actually this K3BYC was his call sign. When I first got licensed, some of the clubs in northern Maryland and southern Pennsylvania were piloting the Fusion and Wires X programs, and were getting the Yazoo repeaters for a reduced rate. So I immediately went 100% Yazoo, and I really loved it there. I'm going to reset so I don't time out. And my club, the State Line Radio Club, and the nearby Chesapeake Bay Radio Association were both had analog, and then they had automatic mode select repeaters. So we're doing both, and really liked it. And then a couple years down the road, one of the repeater owners decided to switch over to DMR. That we didn't have many repeaters around, but he said, "Listen, if you'll help me out, I'll loan you a radio, and I'll handle the registration for getting your DMR ID." I said, "Okay, go ahead with it." So, and we had sessions on the programming and everything. It was still limited service, and then the interstate repeater system added a lot of infrastructure from New York down into Virginia and into Florida. And then about 5 years ago, I decided to go and put together a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus with a Pi Store. So I enjoy it. I check into most of the regional nets in Pennsylvania and Maryland. And I found STNY on NetLooker. So I decided this is a nice net, and I really do enjoy it there. I look forward to it for every Sunday. So love digital. So primarily Fusion, DMR, and I'm going to reset again. Also, with my, I'm in the Aries Races with Harford County, Maryland. We use the method of sending documents over the air called FLDigi. It's a companion series of digital. It's like sending a fax over the air, I guess, if you may. And it has a list of various modes you can use for the various speeds and signal strengths. We basically, in our group, we use MT63 2KS. We send ICS 213 forms and other data through in some of our operations. So I do a lot of digital. I don't do HF, even though I am a general class. I'm just not into that. I love my UHF, VHF, and digital is really my favorite there. So that's how I got into it, and that's why I continue it. So anyway, sorry for the internet outage there. That's one of the hazards of this mode there, but I really love it there. Well, this is K3BYC, back to net control.
Thank you, Carlton. Yes, we don't have to deal with sunspots, but we do have to deal with internet outages and packets that get lost here and there. And even though they have all this packet redundancy, they still seem to get lost. So, okay, I see we have a new addition onto our list. W4 IDJ, W4 IDJ, from Henderson, Kentucky. Wayne, how did you happen to find us? How was your week, and what got you into digital radio?
W2KDC from W4IDJ in the group. Oh man, how did we find digital? Well, I don't know. We more stumbled up on it than really anything. Ever since C4 FM come out, it really started to start in with it, and it just kind of rolled from there, from C4 FM to DMR. And then once I got into DMR, learning how to program radios and do all them high-tech, state-of-the-art, gold plugs. That's what I call them. State-of-art, yeah. Very difficult, but once we got to learning it, it didn't turn out to be all that bad. Well, as time went on, I used to be emergency personnel, and we got into the county that I'm from, got into Pay 2 P25. Well, here I go. Well, look, P25. I wonder what's going on in ham radio and P25 world. Well, I went off and got a Motorola XTS 3000. Spent weeks and weeks. Let me reset real quick. We spent weeks and weeks and weeks just trying to get something program up and running. I went through so many forums, and people were telling me, well, you can install a Windows XP virtual machine on a Windows 10 machine, and it'll work that way. I thought, that kind of makes sense. Well, and that's what we did. So got it working, got it talking through the radio, and here I go with it. Started programming it up, and got it all programmed and going, and I've met a lot of good people in all the groups. But I think I said enough. All the hot spots probably smoking now from me talking so much. But yes, I also did find the group, saw this going on NetLogger. That was what I forgot. Seen the MRNet going on NetLogger, so definitely enjoy it, and we'll let you get back at it there. W2KDC from W4IDJ, 73s to you and the group, and back to net.
Well, W4IDJ, welcome to New York. We're here every Sunday at 7 o'clock, good Lord willing. So please come around and join us anytime you'd like to. We're going to give one last call, see if there's anyone else out there or anyone that hearing none. I guess it's time to close the STNY DMR net for the evening. Does anyone have any final comments for the net?
Yeah, Dennis, this is W2FJH. I just had a quick comment. If Ed, NE2W, if you're available, would you be able to join us on Google Meet for a few minutes there? I promise I won't hold you till 8. I know there's other nets going on, but I did have to ask you a couple questions there if you're available.
Okay. With that, we will wrap up the Southern Tier of New York DMR net on the 8th day of September. I want to thank everybody for stopping by this evening. We had 10 check-ins, 11 if I count. So we want to thank Carlton, Frank, Ed, Paul, Nick, Clifton, Jeff. Oops, there goes the list again. Bill and Wayne. And always, we want to thank our repeater folks for keeping the repeater up and running and supporting this aspect of amateur radio by allowing us to meet here every 7 p.m. local time on some Sunday evenings. Everyone, please enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great week. Wishing you 73, this is W2 KDC, returning the frequency to its normal use.